After a car accident, a scientist resurrects his family from death, but their second chance at life comes with a dangerous price.
It's a copy. I mean, you really don't get it?
The movie begins with William, a researcher, eagerly waiting for something in his office. A helicopter lands at the facility, and William, alongside his co-worker Ed, head to the lab. The donor's body is unpacked and placed beside a robotic shell. William and Ed discuss the donor's death and prepare for the experiment. After confirming the viability of the donor's cortex, William explains that the biological brain will be replicated and transferred into a synthetic brain. William begins the intricate process of transferring the donor's mind. The replica awakens, seemingly confused, and questions its identity.
Who am I?
However, its instability escalates, causing it to self-destruct violently before William shuts it down. Afterward, William updates Jones, a superior, about the progress. While William is proud that the replica spoke, Jones is unimpressed, emphasizing the need for greater results to satisfy the company's shareholders. Later, William returns home to find his wife Mona packing for a family trip. Inside, their children, Matt, Zoe, and Sophie, are not ready yet. The family sets off on their trip, but tragedy strikes when their car crashes during a storm. The accident leaves William as the sole survivor. Devastated, he calls Ed instead of emergency services, convincing him to help transfer the consciousness of his family into specialized equipment. At the lab, Ed introduces William to the pods used for replicating human bodies, warning him that the cloning process remains imperfect. William asks Ed to keep all of this between them and to dispose of the original bodies discreetly. When Ed later arrives at William's house, he reveals there are only 3 pods available, forcing William to choose which family member to leave out. Unable to decide, William writes their names on paper slips and draws one randomly. The name he selects is Zoe. The clones will take 17 days to form, giving William limited time to transfer their consciousness. Zoe's memory is erased from the stored data, but her consciousness remains on a separate hard drive. While William works on stabilizing the cloning process, Ed faces mounting pressure from Jones, who demands visible progress. Ed warns William that the company might discover their stolen equipment. To keep up appearances, William returns to work and has Ed monitor the pods. At the same time, William uses his family's devices to craft fake messages and emails, maintaining the illusion that they are still alive. Days pass with repeated failures, and as the clones near completion, Ed pushes William to act. William decides to sedate the clones to buy extra time, despite Ed's warning that sedation is only viable for 72 hours. The first to emerge from the pods is Mona, who begins breathing on her own. William quickly sedates her to buy some more time. He revisits footage of past experiments, but can't find the reason for its failure. Until one morning, he discovers that the mind rejects a synthetic body because it doesn't recognize it as its own. He hypothesizes that tricking the mind into believing it's in its original body could solve the issue. With this breakthrough, William uploads Mona's consciousness into her clone. Although initially unresponsive, she eventually awakens, recognizes him, and resumes breathing. William repeats the process for his children, preparing the house for their return. Once all 3 clones are successfully revived, William cleans up any evidence of the crash and erases all traces of Zoe's existence. The next morning, William wakes to find his family acting as though nothing had happened. Mona feels energetic and goes for a jog, while the kids enjoy breakfast. William receives a call from Ed, warning him that the company has a new donor and demanding his presence at work to avoid raising suspicions. William rushes to the lab, but he deems the new donor unfit for the transfer, refusing to repeat the suffering caused by failed experiments. Determined to prove his theory, William secretly uploads his own consciousness into a synthetic brain using the lab's equipment. Meanwhile, at home, Mona and Sophie search for their missing phones, and Mona begins to feel that something is off. William confesses to Ed about transferring his mind, explaining that he plans to use himself as the baseline for a successful synthetic consciousness. He designs an algorithm to bridge the gap between the human mind and an artificial body, effectively tricking the synthetic brain into thinking it's in its original form. Mona eventually confronts William and demands the truth. He admits to resurrecting them after the crash, unable to bear losing them. Mona, though shaken, begins to understand his reasons. However, the facade starts to crack when Sophie mentions Zoe's name, which she found scribbled in her closet. The family begins recalling fragments of Zoe, leading Mona to confront William again. Before William can explain further, Jones arrives at the house, revealing that he knows about the clones and considers them company property. He insists on taking the family as part of the experiment, threatening to expose them. William tries to negotiate, offering Jones the algorithm, but Jones has ulterior motives. He reveals that the company intends to use the technology for military applications. When Jones's men arrive to capture the family, William manages to knock Jones unconscious and destroy the algorithm.
William, I need to know.
He gathers his family and flees, but Jones tracks them using implants embedded in their nervous systems. The family takes refuge at a marina, but Jones's men kidnap Mona and the kids. William returns to the lab, where Jones coerces him into recreating the algorithm. While Jones gloats, William secretly transfers his own algorithm into the synthetic robot body. When the robot activates, it identifies itself as William and declares its intent to protect his family. The robot attacks Jones's men, allowing William and his family to escape. Before leaving, William stops the robot from killing Jones and strikes a deal with him. The robot agrees to stay behind and manage the fallout, including creating a clone of Jones to act as a decoy. 17 days later, the family enjoys a peaceful vacation on the beach. William reveals a surprise. He has revived Zoe, reuniting her with the family. Meanwhile, Jones's clone, now in control of the robot, uses the invention to sell synthetic consciousness technology to wealthy buyers in Dubai, ensuring the family's freedom and safety.